Good morning, students. Uh, Today we'll do chapter 2 from the book Indian Economic Development, and the name of the chapter is Indian Economy 1950 to 1990. So, in this chapter, we'll study about the economic systems and the, at the time of independence. In this chapter, we'll study the era. The duration is 1950 to 1990. After the independence, we can say, or you can say at the time of independence. So our economic planners, they were having the problem to select a economic system. On that system, our economy will work, and so they studied, they analyzed the different systems throughout the globe. So they studied capitalism, or we can say the capitalist economy. The other name of capitalist economy is market economy. Second one is socialist economy, and or we can say socialism or centrally planned economy, and the mixed of both capitalism and socialism is the mixed economy. So the problem before our planner, the question before our planners was to select from any of these three. So, or we can say the two, the capitalism or socialism. So they will study this in the later, and then the Industrial Policy Resolution IPR 1948 was designed, and the Planning Commission was set up in 1950. The era of 5-year plans had begun. So we'll study these 5-year plans also, and what our government planned during that era of 50 to 90. So then again we'll study the agriculture sector during the planning period. And planning period, now I think you understand this keyword, and this period is between 1950 to 1990. We can say after the independence or at the time of independence. And in agriculture, the policies were formed. We can say that land reforms, green revolution happened during this era. So we'll study in detail. And the next is industrial sector during the planning period, that is 1950 to 1990. That are economic policies. One of the policies IPR, that is Industry Policy Resolution, and IPR 1948 is there, and IPR 1956 is there. We'll study in detail. The last one is trade during planning period. In this chapter, we'll study about economic policies related to trade, foreign trade, we can say, specifically during 1950 to 19. So we'll study the economic policies in this chapter, and the era is, the duration is 1950 to 1990, and the other name for this era is planning period. So our planners, they faced a question which economic system they should choose at the time of independence. So they studied that every society has to answer three questions: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, means how goods be distributed among people. And in the note you can clearly see that answer to these questions is given by the economic system a nation chooses. A nation chooses, we can say, if India choose, we can say the other systems, mixed or socialism or the mixed of both. So that was at the time of independence. They were having the choice between, or we can say among these three systems to choose, but they firstly try to understand what exactly the system is, capitalism, or you can say the market economy. Answer to the questions what, how, and for whom to produce depends on the market forces of demand and supply. So only those goods will be produced that are in demand and sold profitably. Let's say what to produce. If cars are in demand and that is backed by the purchasing power, we can say the capitalist economy will produce the cars. How to produce means there are two methods to produce, whether through labors or through machines. If labor, we can say, are cheap, they'll produce, this capitalist will produce through with the help of labor. If machines are low cost or cheap, we can say, then they'll produce with the help of machines. So how to produce means human labor, if labor is cheap, or machines if they are cheap, machines are cheap. For whom means how goods be distributed among people. For whom to produce, on the basis of purchasing power, not on the basis of need. This you can understand with the help of this example. And the important point is one should have money to buy goods in the capitalism. So that is, the demand is backed by the purchasing power, not on the basis of need. For example, low cost housing for poor is much needed. but will not count as demand because poor do not have the purchasing power to back the demand. So example, or the classical example for this is North Korea. So in this country, only those goods and services are produced which are in demand. We can say they want to export that also. Demand means both domestic demand or we can say foreign demand. So they are involved in all kind of, we can say, the harmful activities like the production of the goods which are harmful, like drugs. They are into drugs production and weapons production, and they are into counterfeiting US dollar. They copy and they circulate in the market, which is again illegal. So they are into these kind of whatever is in the demand. If there is a demand for food grain, is there low cost food grain or free food grain for poor is there, they will not consider it as demand. So that is not backed by the purchasing power. So now you understand that the keywords for this capitalist economy is, it is what, how, and for whom to produce is decided by the forces of demand and supply. And the second keyword is profit. If there is profit, they will produce that only, and that must be backed by the demand must be backed by the purchasing power, and the money should be there. If a poor wants a household, if poor want a food grain, that will not be considered demand in capitalist economy because that is not backed by the purchasing power, means money. So again, the opposite of this particular economic system is socialist, or we can say centrally planned system. Here the answer to these questions, what, how, and for whom to produce, depends on government. This you can clearly see, the government is there everywhere, government decides. In this capitalist system, we can say market forces are there, purchasing power is there, money, everything is decided by that only. And what to produce in a socialist society, government decides what to produce according to the needs of the society. How to produce, government decides again how to produce. If we can say if there is a need for more labor, they'll go with the labor. If there is need for machines, that depends on the need, the government decides. And for whom to produce, like how goods be distributed, on the basis of what people need, not on the basis of what people can afford to purchase. So if there is a need for free healthcare, free education, so these services will be produced. So the government decides what is required, what is there, what the society needs. So on that basis, they will produce the goods and services. There is no private property. In the second last point, there is clearly written in socialism. Everything, like for example, factories, farms, are owned by the government. So now I think you understand both the systems. Capitalism depends on market forces of demand and supply, profits, purchasing power. Socialism, government decides what the society needs, the profits are not considered. And the last one is mixed economy. And for socialism, the example is China. China is a centrally planned economy, and the mix of both the government, we can say the socialism, and the market capitalism together gives the answer to questions what, how, and for whom to produce. And most of the economies are mixed economies. And how this works, we can understand with this third point. Market can provide goods, like these forces of demand and supply can provide goods, it can produce well, and government will provide essential goods and services when market fail to do so. This you can understand with the help of this example. Everything will be clear to you about the mixed economy. Market may provide luxury goods like cars, smartphones. Market means the forces of demand and supply backed by the purchasing power, money is there. And harmful goods, they can also produce harmful goods like liquor if there is a demand and backed by the purchasing power, money, tobacco, etc. The market may provide. In the mixed economy, these kind of goods will be available. And then government imposes high taxes on these luxury and harmful goods and reallocate these funds so collected on goods like free food grains, low cost housing services are there, free education, free health. So if there is, the society needs education, and the poor people, most of the people of that particular society are poor. So in that case, if the society needs food grains, education, so government will provide that. So I think now you are clear that market is also there. Market is free to function, and that is if when they fail to provide the goods and services which are in need and of the society, which are the need of the society, like low cost housing, so that will be provided by the government. So these three systems, now we understand that. So our planners, they their choice was mixed economy, mixed of both, best of both socialism and capitalism. There are drawbacks of both the systems, so the choice was the best of socialism and the best of capitalism. So so we are now a mixed economy. India is a mixed economy. So now after deciding the economic system, now the policies, our planners, they started designing the policies, and one of the policy they designed was IPR 1948, that is Industrial Policy Resolution. And what is it says, what is it reflected? India would be a socialist society with a strong public, or we can say the government sector, but also with private property and democracy. This particular resolution states that is on the lines of that, we can say a mixed economic system. The government would plan for the economy with private sector being encouraged to be part of the planned effort. This you need to know. That is what this particular IPR reflected, and this points out towards this mixed economic system their choice was at that time. So the government would plan, because at that time the private industries, they were not having funds. There was no that much market was not there. So the government 5-year plans will start. Government would plan everything for the economy at that time of independence, and the private sector will be encouraged, and slowly and gradually they will become strong. But at that particular point of time, at that time of independence, government would plan for the economy, a strong public sector would be there, and the private sector will be encouraged. Therefore, in 1950, the Planning Commission was set up, and the era of 5-year plans had begun. So now we all know that there are 5-year plans. So firstly, you need to understand what are the goals of 5-year plans, and the goals of 5-year plans are growth, modernization, self-reliance, and equity. There are 4 goals. We'll study these goals in detail, and these are very important from the examination point of view. This year also, CBSE asked about the goals. From the goals, like self-reliance and from modernization, they ask the questions. And what is a plan? It should have some general goals as well as specific objectives. So these are the keywords: general goals, which are to be achieved in a specified period of time. Our plans specify the objectives to be achieved in 5 years. So these are firstly you need to understand the keywords. Plan must have a goal, a specific objective must be there, and the next keyword is specified period of time. It must be achieved in a specified period of time. And plan explains how the resources of a nation, resources means human capital, human resource, or we can say the funds, the money. So how these resources should be put to use. Firstly, the objectives should be set, and these objectives, with the help of the resources, will be achieved within a specified period of time. In India, that specified period of time is 5 years. So if there is a long-term plan, they call it perspective plan, and that is for 20 years. 5-year plans will be added, and then a perspective plan will be designed, and that will be for the 20 years. So now I think you understand the plan, specific objectives, goals, and in India, our 5-year plans, the goals are growth, modernization, self-reliance, and equity. Now we will understand these in detail. Growth, it refers to increase in country's capacity to produce. Growth, you need to understand that growth is very specific, this term, and it means increase in country's capacity to produce the output of goods and services within the country. Increase in country's capacity, that is the keyword. Growth means increase in country's capacity to produce, that is output, increase in output. And it implies either a larger stock of productive capital, means machines, or a larger size of supporting services like banking. Larger means it is increasing every year. Both of these elements. A good indicator of economic growth is steady increase in GDP, gross domestic product. So GDP is the market value of all goods and services produced in the country during a year. If the GDP, we can say if India's GDP is 7%, we can say increase. So it means we are increasing by 7% every year. We are adding 7% more in producing goods and services. So that structural composition of the economy means the contribution of agriculture sector, industrial sector, service sector in GDP. So all these three sectors, they contribute in GDP. So now I think you understand the goal of 5-year plan. Growth. Growth means increase in country's capacity to produce goods and services, and that is the good indicator how you can understand that there is a growth or there is a decline. If there is a steady increase in GDP, we can say there is economic growth. And what exactly is GDP is? Market value of all goods and services produced in the country during a year. For 1 year, GDP is calculated. Now the second goal of 5-year plan, modernization. And there are two keywords to understand modernization: adoption of new technology, and second is change in social outlook. So modernization means adoption of new technology to increase production of goods and services, and change in social outlook is called modernization. Okay, I think you understand that. Adoption of new technology to increase production, and then change in social. And social outlook means, change in social outlook means recognition that women should have same rights as men. Modern society makes use of talents of women in banks, schools, factories, etc. Such a society is more prosperous, where women are also treated equal. These societies are more prosperous. Society means the country, economy. These Europeans, why they are prosperous? The Americans, why they are prosperous? They give equal rights to women. That's why in India also, into the 5-year plan, one of the goal was there, modernization, and which modernization we can say that adoption of new technology. So this doesn't mean only the adoption of new technology. A change in social outlook must also be there. And third is self-reliance. Third goal is self-reliance, and it means avoiding imports of those goods which could be produced in India. Self-reliance means we can produce goods on our own in our country. That is Make in India. That is self-reliance. Avoiding foreign technology and foreign capital. And why this policy was necessary? Self-reliance, to reduce our dependence on foreign countries like US for food grains. At that time we were dependent for food grains. To reduce foreign interference in our policies. So I think now you can understand that the whole self-reliance means avoiding imports of those goods which could be produced in India. Avoiding foreign technology and foreign capital. And why this was required? To reduce our dependence on foreign countries. To reduce foreign interference in our policies. And the next goal is equity. Last one. Benefits of the economic prosperity reach the poor instead of only enjoyed by the rich. Every Indian should be able to meet his or her basic needs such as food, housing, education, and health. And inequality in the distribution of wealth should be reduced. So this goal is very important. Equity means everyone should be treated equal. The benefits of the economic growth should reach the poor, and that inequality in the distribution of wealth should be minimized, should be reduced, and everyone should have a right to education, must have a good housing, a decent housing facility, health facility should be available to everyone. So that is the objective, we can say, the equity explains. Equity means equality. So this will start from our next in our next video class, and that is we'll study about the agriculture sector during the planning period. So we'll study this in detail. So now I think you are having understanding of these goals of 5-year plans. We'll again give it a look. Goals of 5-year plans are growth, modernization, self-reliance, equity. Growth means increase in country's capacity to produce. Modernization means adoption of new technology and changing social outlook. Self-reliance means avoiding imports of the goods which could be produced in India. And equity is benefits of the economic prosperity should reach the poor instead of only enjoyed by the rich. Equality. Okay. Thank you.